Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Today I show you the newest member of the G family from Panasonic. That's the Lumix DMC-G6. So this one replaces the G5 and it's the small sister of the GH3, the real big one, the real big system camera of Panasonic. Yeah, and the first point, when I asked people for the G5, they said if they want to make videos, they said yes, the G5 is very good, but it has no microphone input, so you can't put an external microphone on the G5. And imagine the G6 has now the external microphone jack, so you can put an external microphone. You have the there is the connector, you put the microphone jack in and you can use an external microphone. So that's one very important thing. That's why I mentioned it first, because there were a lot of people who asked Panasonic, why didn't you do an external microphone jack on the camera? So that's very important for us for making videos. But that's the good news. And with the good news, there's also the bad news. And the bad news is the one thing, the G5 doesn't have a HDMI live output. So if you want to put an external monitor on the G5 for controlling the video, it wasn't possible because the HDMI output was only for replay, but not for the live view during taking videos. And imagine, I hoped so very that the G6 would have the HDMI live output, but it doesn't have the HDMI live output. So again, there's a small piece which is missing for the to get a real good video function on the G6. Unfortunately, I don't know why Panasonic didn't do this, because the bigger model, the GH3, has such a big data rate on the video that the difference between the G6 and the GH3 would be also given if this one had an HDMI live output. So it's one thing I tested first, and one thing I should tell you first on my video before I go into the most important features of the G6. So if you're a photographer, now comes the part for you. The first part was for the video freaks who waited for the new stuff on the G6. Yes, taking about the photography, one thing, the G6 is a little bit more stylish, a little bit more modern than the old G5. If you compare it with the G5, you see this is a little bit more stylish, a little bit more nice. The form, the outline is a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more modern. You have the turnable touch screen on the back side again. See, it's the same touchscreen and it works in the same way like the G5, but it's a little bit more clearer, I think. It's a little bit more brighter, and the picture, I think it's a little bit better. And the same thing with the electronic viewfinder. The electronic viewfinder is now an OLED monitor. Inside it has the same resolution like the G5, but the quality, I think, on the first view is much better than on the G5. I'm very astonished about the clear picture, and I tried it in a little bit more low light situation, and so although the picture is clear, it's still not perfect smooth, but much better, and you have a good view even in low light conditions. Yeah, and one thing on the back side, you see we have a lot of functions button there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions buttons, and you have 2 soft functions buttons on the screen. I can show you later. You have the 4-way button here, and one thing I can congratulate Panasonic, now you can read the stuff on the 4-way button. You remember this silver thing? It's almost difficult to read the letters on the 4-way button. and now they make it in black with the white letters on it, so you can read it perfectly. You have the dial on top of the backside, and let's go to the top of the camera. You have the flash shoe, you have the stereo microphone, the built-in stereo microphone, and you have the big program dial, the on-off switch. You have the video button to start the video. You have the intelligent automatic button for the one button automatic of the Panasonic, which you can use all the time, and you have a small lever for the power zoom lenses. And if you don't use a power zoom lens, you can put anything on this button what you want, like exposure correction or stuff like that, and you have the shutter release button. So these are the main points of the camera. And on the side again, you have the HDMI remote control and the AV out jack for putting the analog signals out of the camera. Yeah, so these are the main functions and buttons of the G6. One very important thing, the G6 has a Wi-Fi module inside, and one real interesting point is I think it's the first of the newer cameras where the Wi-Fi module works like an Wi-Fi card. So you take a picture and the camera transmits it immediately to a mobile device, computer or something else. So you can shoot and the camera in the background transmit the pictures to the iPad or your iPhone, so you can make some corrections, send it via email or stuff like that. And this is one feature I like very much, because on I don't know, every other camera, maybe there are some others, I don't know, but on the cameras I know, you take pictures, and if you have taken the pictures, you have to go on the Wi-Fi menu, you have to connect the camera with your device, and then you start downloading the pictures. So it's first taking pictures, then downloading. I use an Wi-Fi card on some of my cameras, and I like the function of the Wi-Fi card because you shoot and in the background the Wi-Fi card transmit the pictures to your mobile device or your computer. And that was one thing that was one reason why I used the Wi-Fi card, and now that's built in on the G6. So I can show you. I start the camera here, put it on, and you have the Wi-Fi button. So if you press the Wi-Fi button, just a little second, and you have a new connection. If you say new connection, then here we have first remote shooting and view, so you can connect a smartphone for remote shooting. You have playback on your TV via over Wi-Fi, so you can send your pictures on your TV. And this is the point I mentioned, send images while recording. I tried it, it works perfect, and it's very nice feature. I like this one very much. So that's a real big step on the Wi-Fi module on the G6. A big step forward, which makes the Wi-Fi function very comfortable. And I show you in my full review video, I show you how this will work, and I show you a small Wi-Fi section in an extra video where you can see how this Wi-Fi function will work. So it's very nice. Yeah, talking about the menus, I go back. You see we have the touchscreen, as I mentioned before. Just tap on the screen, so you can go back to the normally camera mode. Let's have a quick look into the menus. So in the menus you have the recording menu for the photography, and you have the motion picture menu, you have the custom picture setup menu, and the playback menu. So let's have a short look at the recording menu. Just go up to the first point. You have the photo style, where you can choose between the different settings of standard, vivid, natural, scenery and portrait. Custom, you can customize this function. Let's go back. You have the aspect ratio. This is the stuff you know, 4:3, 3:2:2, 16:9 and 1:1. So these are the things you know. Then you have the picture size. You see large 16 megapixel. So the G6 had a 16 megapixel sensor. In the highest resolution you have 16 megapixel, in medium 8, and in small 4 megapixel. Then you can set the quality, and you have the high quality, low quality, or a little bit less quality, and for sure the combination of RAW and JPEG or RAW only. So that's nice. You have the RAW options, but camera from in this size and in this class should have this. You have the different focus modes where you can choose between AFS, AFF, AF continuous, and manual focusing. So AFS is the single autofocus. I go a little bit faster to the different settings. You have the self timer, you have the burst rate you can change, you have HDR, so you can go into the HDR function and you can make up a setting of the HDR function. You can set the dynamic range and the auto align. So that's really nice. So the HDR function is a little bit more professional than the old one. Multi-exposure, you have a time-lapse shot, stop motion animation you can make. You have the electronic shutter. That's a very nice feature. That's a feature that G5 also had. You can shoot without any noise, so it's almost absolutely quiet, the camera, if you shoot with the electronic shutter, flash eye, red eye removal, ISO limit set, ISO increments in different steps. You have the long shutter noise reduction, shading compensation, digital zoom, stabilizer from the lens. It says a lens stabilizer. It's not a camera built-in stabilizer. Face recognition, and you can set up your profile. So these are the functions in the photo mode. Let's go to the video mode. In the video mode you have the photo style, where you can set also the different photo styles. Then you have the rec format. You can choose between AVCHD and MP4. If you go to AVCHD, you have different recording qualities. In the highest resolution you have the full HD resolution, 1920 by 1080 with 50p, and you have a transfer rate of 28 megapixels per second, and that's the difference to the GH3, because the GH3 goes up to 50 megabit per second or 72 megabit per second. So there would be the difference between the G6 and the GH3. I don't know, they didn't do it, the HDMI live output. Here you have the different settings of the record quality, and you have also the light format, the AVCHD light format with the 1280 by 720 and 50p. So these are the different settings of the video quality. So let's go to the focus mode. You have the different focus mode, again, single, continuous, and manual focus. Then you have the picture mode. You can take pictures during your make record. You can set what is priority. Is the still picture priority or is the video priority? Continuous autofocus, metering mode. You have the different metering settings. You have them also in the photography mode, dynamic ISO resolution, teleconverter, digital zoom, flicker decrease. So, and you have the microphone level adjust, and you see there's the special microphone for an external microphone. So these are the settings for the video mode, and let's have a quick look at the custom settings. You have all the stuff where you can change your different buttons. You can set all the stuff on the camera, and you can customize your camera really down to the bottom, you have a lot of options to go to. You have the manual focus assistant. So if you turn the front dial of the lens, when the lens has a manual focus ring, it starts immediately in the manual focus assistant, and it magnifies your picture. You have peaking, you have histogram function, guideline, highlight, exposure meter, dial guide. You can set up the different screen styles. So you see there are a lot of things to do in the menus. You have the function button set. You have the function button set in the record menu, and here you see they have the function buttons 6 and 7 as I mentioned before, and these are soft functions buttons on the touch screen. So you have a lot of function buttons you can set. Function lever, here you see what I mentioned before, the function lever, that's the one here up, so you can set it on zoom, or you can set it on exposure corrections for the exposure control. So that's a real nice feature. And auto, it changed between the different two settings if you have a power zoom lens or a normal lens on the camera. You have the EA button switch, you have the video button on, power zoom lens. So you see you have a lot of settings you can do, and have a short look again at the setup menu. There are the usual things like language reset, resetting the Wi-Fi settings, monitor cleaning, clock set, world time, travel date, the Wi-Fi beep, and speaker volume, monitor display. You can set up the monitor. You can set up the monitor very accurate, because you have not only the brightness, but you also have the contrast and saturation, and you have the red tint and you have the blue tint, so you can set up your screen very, very good. And that's what I wonder, because you can set up the screen so clearly and so good. So if I could use an external monitor on the HDMI output, it would be fantastic, but no, it's not the way it is. So monitor lumens, economy, USB mode, output. Here you have the different output settings, and even if they have the output here at the HDMI output, but it's not a real-time output. Viera link, 3D playback. So you see there are a lot of menu points you can set up, and you can customize your camera really, really good. So let's have a short look on the program dial. On the program dial we have the program mode, then we have aperture priority, then we have a shutter speed priority, and we have manual setting of aperture and shutter speed. We have the manual video mode, but compared to the GH3 you don't have the slow-mo and the thing to making it a little bit faster. You don't have it. It's just a manual mode where you can make up different settings. Then you have the custom 1, custom 2, and you have a panorama function, and the panorama function now works. You only have to turn the camera around and it stitches the pictures automatically together. You don't have to make the stitching manual, so that's also a real nice feature. Then you have the scene modes, and in the scene modes, yeah, I think they have 23 different scene modes. I don't know if you need them all. There are some funny things, I think, because you have a cute dessert, and you have also, sorry, one more, appetizing food. So here, I mean, there are a lot of soft image of a flower, glittering illuminations. Then you have the clear night portrait, you have the artistic nightscape, you have the warm glowing nightscape, cool night sky, and you have the clear nightscape. I mean, that's a lot of things you can change in between. You see here you have also a romantic sunset glow. So there are a lot of scene programs you can choose from. Then you have at the last point is the I say the art filters. In the art filters you have the different settings. Let's go to the beginning. You have the different settings like expressive, retro, old days, high key, low key, sepia, and so on and so on. So there are a lot of different settings: miniature effect, soft focus, fantasy, star filter, one point color. You can choose one color, and this one is only colorized. The rest is black and white. And you have a sunshine shot where they simulate a sun on the screen. Every effect you see on the monitor, and you see it in the electronic viewfinder directly, so you can control the different settings directly on the screen and in the electronic viewfinder. So that's a very nice feature. You can choose from a different setting, so you have to decide by yourself if you like it, or if you say it's only playing around and I want to make hard stuff pictures in RAW mode. But the camera has it both, so you have the hard stuff for RAW and you have the nice fun functions like scene and the art filters. Yeah, again, you have if you have the autofocus, you have the touch autofocus, and you can also choose to not only the touch autofocus, but also you can choose a shutter release by touching the screen. Just go here and just a second, I have to turn around the camera, and here we go to the no, I have to do it manually. You can change it. So here's the button, is the quick menu button. So if you go to the quick menu, you have the most important settings on direct response. So you can go up, if you want to change the format, just go down and change the format. You can also do it by touch screen. That's very nice. You don't have to do it by the four-way button. You can set the most important settings of the camera directly. So if you go here and you want to only one point area, then go and have the one point area, and that's it. So it's very nice. That's very easy. You have the direct access to the ISO settings. It goes up to 12,800. You can have the direct access to the white balance, and you can choose a white balance, a custom white balance, where you can go up to the individual Kelvin amount you want to set up the camera. Yeah, so these are the main functions. You see here you have the autofocus field. You can change the size of the autofocus field just by turning the dial here on top of the camera. Yeah, that's it. And one function I showed you before on the G5, the G6 has it too. That's the function where you can look through the viewfinder and you can move your finger on the touch screen. I can turn it also. The touch screen is black now, and you can move your finger on the touch screen to move the autofocus point. So that's a very nice feature if you have something which is moving in the scene. It's just putting the finger on the screen and moving and moving and moving, so you can follow the subject in the scene, and it's very easy. Then press the button and you have the shutter release and you have the picture. So that's a real nice feature. This G5 has it also. I like it very much. That's very intuitive, and it's very easy to handle if you know how to work with it. Yeah, so these are the main functions. You have the auto intelligent button. Just press and the blue light glows, and then you have the auto function where the camera makes all the setting by herself. You don't have to care about anything, not ISO, not exposure time or something else. The camera makes all the settings by herself. The camera tries to find out which scene you're taking and changes from landscape to macro to portrait or stuff like that. So that's a real nice thing. And you have two different auto intelligent modes. The intelligent auto plus is with color and brightness adjustment, and the normal intelligent autofocus is done automatically to obtain good pictures. But if you have the advanced mode, so the color and the brightness is also adjusted by the G6. Yeah, so that's the first look of the G6. I will have it now in my test, and I will make a larger review on the G6 later on. I only have the camera 2 or 3 days, so I have to hurry up with the test. And one thing, I will compare the G6 with the new Canon SL1, the Rebel SL1, because it's also a real small camera. And lots of my readers ask me, what is better, a DSLR or a system camera with interchangeable lenses? And it's very difficult to say which one is better. But I can say the pros and the cons of each system, and because of the SL1 is a real small DSLR, maybe the smallest DSLR in the market, it's very good to compare because the size of both cameras is almost the same, weight is almost the same, and so it's very good to compare the SL1 with the G6, and I will make a video too where I give you my review on both of the cameras and compare both of them, so you can make up your mind by yourself, because I will say you all of the pros and all of the cons of each of the camera, and so you can make up your mind by yourself and decide which camera is best for your needs and which one fits better for your photography stuff you want to do. So I hope you enjoyed my short review or preview of the G6. I will go now to test it in the camera, and I will go for the Wi-Fi function because I love the Wi-Fi, as I told you before, and I will make also a short video on the Wi-Fi function of the camera. Hope you enjoyed my video. Come back again in the next days. You will see lots more videos from the G6, the SL1, and the comparison of both of the cameras. Until now, have fun by taking pictures. See you later. Until now, I say moin moin.